the speakers from this session up here, right, to do a Q&A. So if all the speakers from today could come up to the front, please.
I guess that includes us.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so is Andy Rifkin still in there? Still here? I guess not.
He must have gone to the asteroid.
Okay. All right.
All right. Does anybody have questions for anybody? Any of us?
There's one over there.
Hi,
Yeah.
thanks. I have a question for Julie. Your work is as characterization, but what has it I told you about the best methods for soil extraction once we're actually at the stage to send a sampler up.
So, okay. Is that on? No, that should be on. Okay. So the question is how to sample, basically, once we're ready to go. What's the best method of sampling the soil? Is that summarized? Okay. So the method we've used now, is Chris still in the room? I saw him in here. So Chris Zachney from Honeybee Robotics does have a poster back there to talk about his sampling method here. One of the things that we are seeing overall from this test is we do seem to be losing the majority of the volatiles from the sample when we're brushing it off. So when that material's falling and you've got a lot of surface area exposure, that seems to be when we're kind of losing most of the volatiles. So we're still playing with the different methods to try to improve that. So
have you thought of just having actually dropping the drill bit
well,
as
we want to be able to do
it
multiple
again.
samples. I mean, so some of the other
Multiple drill
methods you can
bits.
think about for doing this are core sampling, something we've used in the past. Chris has got a pneumatic transfer method that we've been talking about using as well. So, I mean, the trade space is still, we're adjusting. I don't know if there's any one perfect way, but we're certainly working through that right now with these kind of tests.
Yeah, this is also for Julia. So you did show that there was a correlation with the temperature of the soil, and you were getting, desorption and removal. But I actually couldn't see the temperature. At what temperature did you get a good rate of removal?
So what temperature did we get a good,
Yes,
retention?
yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No, release. At what temperature were you getting good release?
So release of the volatiles?
Oh, okay, loss, yeah, loss.
Loss. So how high, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Again, we had a trend there. So our lowest soil temperature was like negative 160 degrees C. Our top end was something like negative 80 degrees C. So that was kind of the spread we were seeing. You can plot those temperatures on, say, a sublimation curve to kind of see where you're lying. Though, again, your exposure to what temperature when is a driving factor. So even within that soil bin, you might be different. So, but we do instrument the bin. We've got embedded thermocouples within the soil itself. So.
Tony Dobrovolskis, I have a question for Rosemary Killen. How do you deal with the varying size of the lunar disk?
Okay. We actually made 5 discs, depending on the actual size of the lunar disk. But in practice, we almost always use the larger one because it's very difficult to get the moon underneath the smallest disk, so we just use the largest one.
This question is for Sylvia. You attributed the difference in the band depth to different abundances. Could it also be attributed to slightly different grain sizes?
I think that it is possible, and for sure quantitative analysis should be done in order to disentangle the two, but variations in abundances are more straightforward as an explanation.
In the back.
Julie, Madhu Thangavelu, USC. What determined the drill depth? Did it have to do with the vacuum chamber constraints, or would you like to go deeper if you had the choice?
So we've actually drilled down to 70 centimeters in depth. The drill is a meter-long drill. We do have the capability to go all the way down if we need to. There are some constraints where we're, that translator rig that we're using, we do run up against that, but we can get down to 70, and we have. Our sampling depth, we've been sampling at 40 centimeters, and again, that was to avoid the layer of soil that's desiccated by vacuum exposure. So
I thought that had to do with it. Now, am I right to think the Apollo samples were much deeper? The drill depth? Yeah.
well, they went down to 3 total.
Right.
Yeah, for the core. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. Thanks.
Are there any more questions? Then I think we'll conclude this session.